All right, good evening. We're gonna try this again. Really don't know what happened there. I kind of actually do know what happened. I absolutely did not press the unmute button, so you got nothing when I was speaking. So I did this whole nice 10-minute discussion about Super Bowl. I think it's 59. I keep losing count every year. Um, and I just missed it. So there we go. That was funny. I deleted the video, so there's no one can laugh at me. But yeah, so it's Super Bowl week. It's kind of a culmination of the end of the season. Um, hello, Mrs. Yeah, so I wanted to really start this off. You can see I'm wearing a weird jersey tonight. It's not an actual team's jersey, but it's a Super Bowl jersey actually. And I don't think this is really a thing that much anymore. But they used to sell these Super Bowl jerseys, and I don't have all of them out that I've owned. I've kind of collect things. I'm kind of a dork when it comes to Super Bowl and the NFL films. Mr. Tom, who's doing his wrestling show right now, we were talking earlier this week about 90s NFL, and I sent him this clip of the 1965 Ice Bowl between the Green Bay Packers and the Dallas Cowboys, and uh, the first I think it was the last NFL championship before the merger of the NFL versus the AFL. So that was pretty exciting, talking about that. And the 90s NFL is something that's always it's resonated with me because I think I was aged of about 8 to 13 years old between that time frame of 94 to 99. And you can sit there and think about Aikman and Elway and Marino and Young and some of the quarterbacks we saw during those times. But they used to sell these Super Bowl jerseys. So I had to buy this one. It's Super Bowl 32, obviously, 98. Denver Broncos and the Green Bay Packers, 31-24. John Elway, the helicopter. We all know it very well. So I bought this one as well. This is Super Bowl 30. This is the Cowboys and the Bills. No, Cowboys and the Steelers. Sorry, and you can see the Super Bowl logo on the side. The same thing over this one. They're so cool, and they weren't really expensive. They're old starter 90s stuff. Um, this one's not the 90s, but I still loved it. So Super Bowl 41. This is the Chicago Bears and Indianapolis Colts. And you can see here the Super Bowl logos themselves are on the shirt. When I saw this jersey, I said, I've got to buy it. And my wife's probably rolling her eyes when she's watching this, but it's got the logo from every Super Bowl and just the detail. I don't remember what I paid for it. It wasn't too expensive, but man, it was so cool. Super Bowl XLI. Um, you could see the logos. I mean, I don't know if the camera's not doing justice. I mean, you can see it now, but how great a jersey it was. Um, so last two ones, and I'm missing a couple. I think in the collection. This is the '99. This is, of course, Broncos and Falcons. You can see Super Bowl 33. How about that one? So beautiful. And I might have it, and I'll probably bring it out next week. This is actually probably my favorite Super Bowl logo of all time, and the Super Bowl 31 logo. This is the Packers and the Patriots. Brett Favre's first Super Bowl. I bought the jersey. I have the purple version of this. And ironically and stupidly, I will wear it when we go to Mardi Gras events because it's got the purple and yellow, and I just like it. So I'm kind of a nerd for that stuff. And I have a pennant of the Super Bowl 31. It's got the jazz. I just love Super Bowl memorabilia. And actually, this year, every Pro Bowl weekend, the NFL Network puts on this event where they show all the NFL films from Super Bowl 1 to Super Bowl 59. And I used to just love to sit and watch them. Kind of a dork. I'd sit there and, start with Super Bowl 1, Super Bowl 2, 3. And it would just, you go through some of these great quarterbacks and these great teams and just watch some of the history that evolved. Like, the Redskins punter, or I think it was maybe the Dolphins, either way, like the game in the 70s between them and the Miami going undefeated, the Giants beating the Patriots, San Francisco destroying the San Diego Chargers and that Super Bowl, then the Bills and their four Super Bowls, and the 49ers and what they did in the 80s. I mean, I've got pennants downstairs in the garage that from different Super Bowls and different ones I bought from different times. And probably one of these days for the channel, I'll probably end up making a video showing some of the stuff that I've collected, you know, not over the years, but bought recently with the last couple of years. But some of the stuff is really cool. Like the Pontiac Silverdome that had the Bengals and the 49ers. So honestly, I was really hoping for a Commanders Bills Super Bowl, so or Commanders yeah, Bills, Eagles, whoever, because I didn't want to buy another Chiefs and whatever pennant for whoever they're playing. But either way, let's get into it. Enough of story time. I'm sure there'll be time in the summer we can show some boring items that I own. But let's go into this and start off with yeah. So that's Maddie. Sorry for professionalism, but let's get into this. So, all right. So Super Bowl 59. Sorry. So anyway, this is the culmination of a week for two teams. Two teams that are going to sit there and hopefully vie for a Super Bowl championship. When you think about the Super Bowl and the grind of the NFL season, uh, it is pretty impressive. It's funny because September starts the season. Everybody kind of has some hope. Some teams know what they're going to be during the season. Some teams have a hope of 7 to 10 wins. Some teams hope to make it to 5. Some are thinking about the draft next year. So there's different stories in the NFL. 32 different teams, 32 different stories, two teams, and that's why I love the NFL film stuff because it's just accumulation, and you can sit there and watch history. And you don't think about it, but anyway, the Chiefs are now in their potential third straight Super Bowl, which is not fun if you're a Broncos, Raiders, or Chiefs fan or Chargers fan. You're looking at this and you're like, this sucks. So I was asked if I was going to do a watch along by Mr. Tom, and I think Mr. Arsenal podcast asked me. We'll see what happens, but we're going to play it by ear. But anyway, this game is interesting because I'm looking at this right, and see if I don't get that off the screen, but you can see coming into this game, stop that. There we go. The Chiefs come in with a 16 ranked offense. I feel like this is probably the weakest offensive team the Chiefs have ever had. They have weapons. If you look up and down their stat sheet, you can see here Patrick Mahomes has had probably one of his least exciting years, 67% passing, 4,000 yards, 26 touchdowns, 11 picks. Kareem Hunt and Isaiah Pacheco. Pacheco obviously was out with a tibia injury for the longest time, came back, and he's not really picked up form. But Kelsey, of course, 97 catches, 800 yards. And Xavier Worthy is their second largest target. So when I look at them, in the last time they played, 21-17, the Chiefs were defeated by the Eagles. And of course, the Super Bowl before that. But looking at this, the Eagles come in with the best offense, the best defense in the league, second best rushing attack. That's a recipe to win. You can run the ball and you can defend. You can win a lot of games. And here's the thing: when I think about these two teams, if I'm the Chiefs, I'm coming into this game and I'm saying, look, Saquon Barkley, you're probably going to get yours, but Jalen Hurts, let's make you beat us in the air. But when you look at the Eagles have players that can hurt him. You got AJ Brown, you got Devontae Smith. There's talented wide receivers there. Saquon Barkley, 345 attempts on the year. The Eagles brought him in for the Giants and paid him. If I'm the Eagles, this is pretty simple. Run the football, play time of possession on the Chiefs, and control the game. I think the Eagles are going to win this football game. The Chiefs are definitely the dynasty, and they know how to win this. But when I look at the Eagles, you look at 22nd ranked rushing from the Chiefs, 14th passing. The defense is really good, top 10. They got talent there. I think this game is probably under 24. A piece though. I don't know what the over under is. I think the gambling odds are up here. I'm not a big gambling person. It's going to be in New Orleans. Let's see. Gambling, because I know some people like that stuff. Um, I don't know where the line is on this game, but either way, we'll probably find it later. Um, but to me, the Eagles are gonna win this game. I think they have the potential to control the clock, keep the ball away from the Chiefs, and find a way to win. Uh, you go back to the previous Super Bowl, there was that sketchy defensive holding call that probably was the right call, but you also wonder should they have just let them play through it. Uh, so I'm trying to find where if there's odds to this. But the Super Bowl season, the season's almost over. Looking at the Denver Broncos, let's see. I don't see any gambling on this. Because I know we covered the odds in the beginning of the season, but let's see here. Let's go Super Bowl odds. Super Bowl 25 odds. The Chiefs are a slight favorite in this game, according to Fox. The Chiefs are a 1.5 point favorite. The money line is Chiefs minus 120, Eagles plus 100, 48 and a half over under. I said 24 is probably the line, so I feel like you're probably going to see the under on this game, just because I think the Eagles can sit there and control the time of possession. And also, both teams have top 10 defenses. If you make it this far, you have to have really good defense. But yeah, so that's really it as far as Super Bowl goes. If I end up doing a watch along, I will provide where I'm doing it, if I'm doing it. I've been invited to a Super Bowl party, which I'm probably not going to go to. I'm going to be honest with you. We went to a hockey game last Friday with the people that invited us to the Super Bowl party. He's an Eagles fan. He's not insufferable. I like him. His wife is a big Swiftie, so she's got friends who like Taylor Swift. I kind of want to stay away from that. I like the Super Bowl for what it is. I don't care for the commercials. I don't care about the halftime show. I like the game. And I think the game probably almost takes 4 or 5 hours to do. So I just don't like it. Hear me out. But let's move on. Senior Bowl. The Senior Bowl happened, and uh, it, I think Senior Bowl, that's where the rookies that are coming into the next generation of rookies that are going to be potentially your Patrick Mahomes or whoever. Uh, the American team defeated the national team 22-19. Uh, Jack Beck scored the game-winning touchdown, uh, and we'll go over you know uh, mock drafts and stuff later, but uh, the people that I watched that talked about the Senior Bowl, we'll probably talk about this a little bit more next week, I think, because it'll tie into more uh, the draft and certain players and who the Broncos are going to really target going forward into the uh, the off season. For the draft coming up in April, the 20th overall pick. Uh, But yeah, I mean, there was a picture that was making the rounds. Dylan Gabriel, quarterback out of Oregon, who played at Oklahoma and played at UCF, basically had this helmet. And this is how crazy college athletics have gotten to this point. The transfer portal is run amok. I bought this cup when I was in Colorado. I'm not a Buffs fan or a Huskers fan, but it's from the 1998 season. And this is how different college athletics goes. I mean, we're talking about expansive conference, uh, talking expanded conference. We're talking, uh, you know, playoff expansion, all this noise. Colorado in there. This is in the Big 12. You had Baylor, Oklahoma, Kansas State. Oklahoma is now in the SEC. Kansas State, Texas Tech, Kansas, Missouri, SEC, Iowa State, and then at Nebraska. And Nebraska's in the Big Ten. I mean, that's how much the world changes in almost 20, 30 years. It's a really cool cup. It's Colorado's versus Nebraska. I don't care for either team. I'm indifferent on either team. I'll leave it like that. Um, but yeah, so we'll go over that and we'll see exactly who the mock drafts, and we can pivot to one right now. This one actually came from Pro Football Focus, and I believe it's done by Josh Lewinsky. So, and this will tie into some information that Sean Payton said, I believe, at a Super Bowl week, talking about what positions the Broncos are looking for. But we could go to that actually first. Sean, and this is per Mile High Huddle, so Mile High Report. So taking this information from their website. Um, so basically, on the Kay Adams show, Sean Payton went up there and said, "Hey, this is the player we're looking for." And let's see if this plays actually. Yeah. It's very interesting comments here from Coach Payton. And I have to take a couple takeaways from it. I agree that the Broncos need a Joker type player, but I also agree with Kay Adams that they need another veteran wide receiver. Cortland Sutton's coming into last year's deal. Do you pay him? Obviously, the team took a gamble on Josh Reynolds last year as a veteran wide receiver, and we saw how that worked out. Um, Devon Bailey and Troy Franklin were very good for this team last year. Very good for the Denver Broncos. And Marvin Mims' second half of the season was just something else. Just really good. When I think about what the Broncos need, they need a tight end position. They need a better running back. Um, so when he talks about it, the probably if you were to inject Sean Payton with truth serum, and of course he's very cryptic with everything he says, and some people don't like him because he's a little bit rush around the edges. But at the same time, he would probably say, "Yeah, we need tight end. Yeah, we need a running back." Like he'd be looking at those positions. Um, would that be through free agency or through the draft or a mixture of both? I mean, he obviously said inside linebacker, which tells you they're probably going to move on from Cody Barton. Safety, I don't know. I start to think about that because the position he didn't mention there was defensive tackle. So I have a feeling the team may still try to get DJ Jones to come back for one more season. We went over that last week, what his market value is, which is about 11 million a year. The Broncos have 40 million in cap space. So if they're sitting there looking at what are you going to bring in and what are you going to uh, and that's 40 million in cap space without restructuring contracts coming into the season. So when you look at around March, you might have some players that take different structures deals, and the cap hits will move from 2025 to 27 or whatever, and that stuff always plays itself out. And they have geniuses that can do it way far smarter than me that can figure it out. But I do think when he mentions players like Darren Sproles, Reggie Bush, Alvin Kamara, Jeremy Shockey and Jimmy Graham. Those are guys, when I think about a Sean Payton offense, those are guys that are extenders of plays. Those are guys that are check down guys also. And that when people say check down, and people probably say, you're thinking of this wrong. I don't mean in a disrespectful manner. Like Drew Brees would look at a couple people and he hit Reggie Bush or this or that. I think Sean Payton looks at tight ends and running backs as an extension of that running game, right? Where he can pick up 2 or 3 yards here and make it 2nd and 7 or 2nd and 5, by hitting Reggie Bush and Bush going and using his talent. And we have an intruder potentially. My lab, just give me 1 second. I'm so sorry. Um, but yeah, sorry about that. But yeah, so there's these it gives you an idea of what he wants to target. Now, whether that ends up being in free agency or whether that's in the draft, we'll see later. But we're going to pivot into well, we'll pivot into this mock draft I saw. So obviously, we heard Sean Payton's comments here, but this mock draft, and it's on Pro Football Focus by, I believe, Josh Liskowitz. I screwed the name up. He has the Broncos taking running back in the first round, which ideally I'm not opposed to that. And he's looking at Ashante Genty of Boise State, very talented running back. Uh, was a Heisman finalist versus Travis Hunter, who was an elite wide receiver corner. Uh, it's a guy that I would love to see the Broncos get, even though he has a lot of carries. Uh, this draft basically he's got Ashante Genty in the first round at 20. Second round, he's got Sebastian Castro of Iowa. And here's this guy's profile. Uh, Out of Iowa, he's a safety. The write up on this guy says that he had a monster 2023 season, could have been a first round pick, but his cover skills make him that possibility. So Jalen Royals, a wide receiver out of Utah State. Let's take a look at his profile. He is, I believe, if thing would ever come up. They don't give you a lot of this information. That's not good enough. Let's see if this opens up now. Premium stats. No, I'm not paying for your premium stats. Anyway, that's who they had them going for wide receiver. Also, looking here, I just messed it up. I dismissed it. Oops. I just closed it out. That's no bueno. 2025 NFL mock draft. This mock draft season. Let's see here. Denver Broncos. Let's do 7 rounds. There it is. All right. So Ashante Genty, the safety out of Iowa, Jalen Royals, Jack Kaiser out of Notre Dame, a good linebacker, and tight end in this round 6, Mitchell Evans. So to me, this mock draft in a guard, Timothy McKay at North Carolina State, and then Jimmy Horn out of Colorado, which should be a good pickup. So when I look at this, and I'm like, tight end to me, tight end and running back are the 2 biggest needs. Inside linebacker, of course, is a need, but I don't feel like it's as big as need as those other 2 options. So for them to pick up tight end there in the 6th round, it's a little bit, I don't know, because tight end is an interesting position because a lot of times the production of a tight end in the first year isn't what it is. So I think return for investment, Ashante Genty would be there if he's available at 20. I mean, Sean Payton's a guy who's aggressive in the draft. He could trade up for somebody. I don't think they would trade up for a running back. I don't think that's a good play. But if you've got a rookie quarterback and you want to help him out immediately, high impact, Ashante Genty would do that for him. So the Broncos are a different mindset coming into this draft because they're not thinking about quarterback and trying to find the guy. If you look at the top 10 people coming into the mock draft right now, the Broncos aren't having to look for that. Some of those teams aren't going to find their quarterback in the first round this year. And that's a scary proposition to be there, having the Broncos been in that position for the last 8 years. But the Senior Bowl, we're done there. We talked about the Super Bowl. NFL honors, that's tonight at, I think it's 9 p.m. So we can look over that real quick. Lamar Jackson got the MVP. Did I miss the time on this? I must have missed the time on this one. Oops. I'm already logged in. I don't know why it's making me want to do it again. Uh, I didn't know they'd already given the awards out. Oh, well, there you go. So yeah, let's look over the awards. Ours is 2023. My bad. Ooh, yeah, it's tonight. Okay, I don't know why I'm looking at that wrong. Man of the Year. Uh, nominees. Let's see here. Walter Payton Man of the Year. Let's see. So you've got Trey McBride of the Cardinals, Grady Jarrett of the Falcons, Roquan Smith of the Baltimore Ravens, Deion Dawkins, Buffalo Bills, Adam Thielen, Carolina Panthers, Aaron Drew Billings from the Bears, Orlando Brown from the Bengals, Denzel Ward from the Browns, Singleton got it for the Denver Broncos, Alex Singleton, Zach Martin for the Cowboys, Jared Goff for the Lions, Kenny Clark for the Packers, Travis Kelce for the Chiefs, Eric Armstead, Jacksonville Jaguars, Kenny Moore, Indianapolis, Jalon Petre for Houston Texans, Max Crosby for the Raiders, Cameron Dicker for the Chargers, Kyron Williams for the Rams, Alec Ingold for the Miami Dolphins, Darius Slayton for the New York Giants, Cameron Jordan for the New Orleans Saints, Deatrick Wise Jr., New England Patriots, C.J. Ham for the Minnesota Vikings, Solomon Thomas for the New York Jets, Brandon Graham, Philadelphia Eagles, Larry Ogunjobi, I think I probably got it right, the Steelers, Curtis Robinson, San Francisco 49ers, Uchenna Nwosu for the Seattle Seahawks, Mike Evans for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Jeffrey Simmons for the Tennessee Titans, and Bobby Wagner for the Washington Commanders. So there's that. And let's see. This I don't know why this isn't. I'm logged in on this. So I don't know why it's doing. Oh, there we go. Yeah. So that's really kind of it for this week. Pro Bowl happened and came and went, and kind of a blah game, if I'm honest with you. I have to see if I can search it in here. If I can see who's up for each award. I wonder if the All Pro team got announced yet. Yeah, 2024 All Pro team. To me, this is a little bit, I don't know, probably a little bit more important than the Pro Bowl. And we'll talk about that next week. I'll talk about that next week. Save that for next week. But yeah, I don't know why NFL honors. I can't seem to find it. There we go. Let's see, nominees. All right. So tonight at 9, NFL honors. I probably won't watch this, but your MVP finalist, Josh Allen, Saquon Barkley, Joe Burrow, Jared Goff, and then Lamar Jackson. My prediction is it's going to be Lamar. NFL Offensive Player of the Year, Saquon Barkley, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson. I think they'll give this one to Saquon Barkley, the Offensive Player of the Year. NFL Defensive Player of the Year, Zach Bond of the Eagles, Myles Garrett of the Browns, Trey Hendrickson of the Bengals, Pat Surtain of the Broncos, and T.J. Watt. My gut feeling, it's probably going to be Zach Bond of the Philadelphia Eagles. My gut feeling. NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year, Brock Bowers of the Raiders, Jaden Daniels, Washington Commanders, Malik Neighbors, Giants, wide receiver, Bo Nix of your Denver Broncos, Brian Thomas Jr., wide receiver, Jacksonville Jaguars. For me, I can make an argument for Brock Bowers. It's going to be Jaden Daniels, but I can make an argument for Brock Bowers. Probably one of the best rookie tight end seasons of all time. He's going to have a really good career. He's at a bad team and almost had 100 receptions as a rookie, as a tight end. That's unheard of. NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year, Cooper DeJean of the Eagles, Braden Fisk of the Los Angeles Rams, Quinyon Mitchell of the Philadelphia Eagles, Chop Robinson of the Miami Dolphins. Jared versus Los Angeles Rams. I think it's going to be Cooper DeJean there. NFL Comeback Player of the Year finalist, Joe Burrow, Cincinnati Bengals, Sam Darnold, J.K. Dobbins, Christian Gonzalez, and DeMar Hamlin. I think it's going to be Sam Darnold. NFL Coach of the Year. Whoa, we don't want to go to politics. All right. Dan Campbell, Kevin O'Connell, Dan Campbell of the Lions, O'Connell of the Vikings, Sean Payton of the Broncos, Dan Quinn of the Commanders, and Andy Reid. It's going to be Dan Quinn. Took a team that finished second. I mean, I had the second overall pick and made it to the NFC Championship game. NFL Assistant Coach of the Year is Joe Brady, Buffalo Bills, Vic Fangio of the Eagles, Defensive Coordinator, Brian Flores, Defensive Coordinator, Vikings, Aaron Glenn, Defensive Coordinator, Lions, and then Ben Johnson, Defensive Coordinator, Detroit Lions. My gut feeling is Vic Fangio, Philadelphia Eagles. Yeah, so Next Gen Stats Moments of the Year, Walter Payton Man of the Year, NFL Inspired Change Tribute, the Pro Football Hall of Fame Class of 2024. I don't know, have they announced the class yet, or is that tonight? Or is that the finalists? That's last year's class. Okay, so that's not this year. I think they do those around August. FedEx Air and Ground Players of the Year, Salute to Service Award, Art Rooney Sportsmanship Award, NFL Latino Youth Awards, Deacon Jones Sack Leader, NFL Fan of the Year, and whatnot. Yeah, that's really it for this week. I did look at this information on ESPN Plus regarding rosters, and we could look at the Broncos real quick here. I don't know who wrote this article, when it was, but basically a breakdown of every team and where their projected cap space were. And I believe the Denver Broncos, where I was up here near it, they, of course, were at 39 million cap space, number 7. Unrestricted free agents, and we talked about this last week: Cody Barton, Michael Burton, Riley Dixon, Little Jordan Humphrey, DJ Jones, Jared Stidham, Sternard, and running back Javonte Williams. They say the top priority is DJ Jones. Says the Broncos don't project to lose much this offseason. Jones wasn't an essential player for a very good Broncos defense, but he has been useful in run plugging defensive tackle at his best. He got a deal in 22, averaging $20 million a year, with the hope that he might do more as a pass rusher. Given that Vance Joseph reduced his snap share down to 40% while playing him just 15% of the time on third downs, team sees him as a two down tackle. So, like I said, I think they may pay him. I don't know. I don't know what the market dictates or who the other defensive tackle free agents are if they want to address that position in the draft. You still have Malcolm Roach on the roster. So they're talking about inside linebacker, off the ball linebacker. The current concern is Barton and Sternard, who led the Broncos in snaps. Now, granted, Alex Singleton should be back. So we'll see. But it says the Sean Payton might be interested in making a move for a former Saints draftee and newly minted All-Pro linebacker Zach Bond. Now, I wonder if Zach Bond is actually a free agent coming into the season based on this article. Plays for the Eagles, if I'm not mistaken. But let's actually go to the Eagles. I want to see what. Yep, Zach Bond is a free agent. Now, that'd be interesting. Could you pay him? Because they're going to have to pay players, so they're going to have $26 million in cap space. So that they're probably not going to be able to pay Zach Bond. How much would you pay Zach Bond anyway? So that could be an interesting thing to look at. But yeah, that's really it for today. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Like I said, I shared the jerseys earlier that I had from Super Bowl teams. I might post the one in the community tab, the purple one I have that I really like to wear to Mardi Gras events and everything. But enjoy the Super Bowl. Make sure you eat a lot of bean dip. Enjoy yourself. Make sure to talk during the commercials. Make jokes about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce as much as you can. There's plenty of good internet jokes out there right now. The thing they do at the Super Bowl is people interview people, and they let sometimes comedians come. And so there were some funny ones that Patrick Mahomes were asked that he took as a sport. But Travis Kelsey got asked one, and I saw the clip. It was the guy asking, "Do you like Taylor Swift more, or do you like 15-yard phantom roughing the passer?" Which he just ignored. There's a funny clip of Jameis Winston going out there and talking to and doing interviews himself on Fox Sports. So he might have a future in broadcasting. Made a funny joke about throwing an interception. But anyway, it's been fun. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Hopefully the Chiefs lose. And that's really all I got to say about that. But enjoy yourself. Stay. I don't know. Stay safe.
Third and 8.